Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football, episode number 79. It's me and Ryan McGinley today. It's the Celtic the Funder today, which is weird because
the lunatics have taken over the asylum. Sorry, boys.
We have a very healthy contingent of Rangers viewers. They enjoy the show and they watch on. I have a feeling they might be clicking off after they've opened up today's.
What do you mean? There'll be more people. They'll have just finished listening to the Celtic the Funder.
The Funder. Yeah, we've done back-to-back recordings. So we've literally just came off the back of doing the Celtic the Funder. We're now in here doing Talk Scottish Football, all brought to you by the wonderful G4 Claims. Thank you very much to G4 for letting us use the space. As always, make sure to check out their stuff in the description below. But we are off the back of an hour and 10 minutes recording, and we're now on to this in a very tight day because both of us are going to see the new James Bond tonight, Ryan. Goldfinger.
He's singing. He's just finished with Morrissey, and now he's.
Have you seen the Celtic Funder? You'd have seen that I was right into my Morrissey at the end there.
Who sings the Bond theme this day? Is it Billie Eilish?
Don't get me started. Don't start me. I do not like Billie Eilish in the slightest.
Controversial.
It's not quite Shirley Bassey, eh? Talking about Shirley Bassey, Rangers last night in the Europa League. Big Shirley Bassey at the back because
coefficient getting battered last night.
Look, we'll come up. We'll go and talk about both games. So we will come on to that. But briefly, it's me and Ryan. It was meant to be me, Ryan, and David Buick today for the show. David is very ill. I picked him up from work. I had to pick him up from work last night as well.
That's what Peter Grant does to you.
I had to pick him up from work last night. He is genuinely ill. He's not just pulled a wee sickie and for the sake of it. He's not well. He was up this morning being sick, so he can't be here. Div is... Don't know what Div's doing, probably fathering or working, one of the two. Very busy man. Kieran's at college. Callum's to go his first shift in his new job. Jack will be working. So it's just me and McGinley. You take it or leave it. Take it or leave it, you know. But we're here to talk about last night's Europa League games. We're here to preview a little bit of the weekend. It will be a shorter show than usual, I would suspect, because we've been in here a long time and we do want to get ourselves out of here because we've got Bond tonight, as I've said.
I mean, I haven't booked my tickets yet, so I'm hoping there's still
for fuck's sake, well, you're not going to Bond tonight then. I'm going to Bond tonight.
There's Bond away.
There's Bond away. Right, let's start with Celtic and Leverkusen and get it done and dusted because we've spoke about it already a healthy amount.
Do you have to do it again?
Yeah, we're going to have to. For the listeners who don't listen to the Celtic the Thunder. Celtic lost 4-0 to Bayer Leverkusen in a game in which, you know, Celtic performed to a level that would suggest they shouldn't have got beat 4-0, but it's standard Celtic in Europe. You know, you give your fans so much promise, so much of a bit of hope, and then silly errors lead to goals, and the quality of the opposition shines through.
Yep, it was men against boys at the end of the day, I think. Although we had our chances. Celtic had their chances. Yep. I have to be sort of not biased when talking about Celtic. It was very, very difficult. Celtic didn't take their chances. Leverkusen did. Leverkusen are a far better team than Celtic are, and that's that really. It's another very poor result in a string of poor results.
We spoke about how, you know, there was players in the park last night who were so clearly out their depths playing against opposition like Leverkusen. We also spoke about how players were lazy last night in the middle of the park. Rogic and Turnbull in particular are players who have dipped a little bit, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think you can play the two of them in the same team, I'll be honest. The two of them are luxury players. There's players in that team that are just not suited for Ange's style of play. Now, I don't know if that's on the manager, if he changes his system to accommodate these players, or he just needs to get further back in January. But from now to January is a very long time.
Yes.
So it's sink or swim for these players, unfortunately. We've got to go with what we've got at the moment until January. It's not an ideal situation. We've still got loads of players out injured, although some of them are coming back, which is great. But it's not looking great at the moment.
No.
A wee result at the weekend would do the world a good, but I'm not confident.
We'll come on to that, the weekend's game. That's going to be one of the massive turning points now, or talking points, because Rangers fans who'll be listening just now will be wanting to hear the significant turn in attitude towards Ange Postecoglou. We have not reached that point yet as fans, Ryan. Yes, there are doubts, there is questions. naturally, when you're in a bad run of form, you've got to ask questions. Yeah, you know, you can't. I always find it rich when you see comments coming through and it's like, oh, you're turning your back now. You're saying this now, and I'm like, well, of course, you're not going to go through wins and go, it's all good. Go through losses, it's all good. It's not going to happen.
You can change your opinion. That's the one thing I'd say. We're not, these things that we say maybe 3 or 4 weeks back, they're not set in stone. They are open to change. They're not locked in. People's opinions change all the time. We're just calling it as we see it, basically.
And the major thing, if you want to hear a more in-depth, if you're really desperate to hear a more in-depth talk about this game, because we spoke about half an hour there on it in the last podcast, so we really want to get this game out over and done with. The one big thing about last night was the return of Callum McGregor, Kyogo Furuhashi. It was dropped at the last minute. It was magnificent. We all had not expected it. Apparently they were out for the game. They came back. The difference those two make, particularly Kyogo last night in those opening exchanges of the game, they're so vital to Celtic, those two. Yeah,
and it was something I didn't really pick up on the other podcast. Kyogo does make a big difference, McGregor too, but if he's just a tad more clinical, he would have scored a couple of goals last night. In Europe, well, in the league, he'll get 5 or 6 gilt-edged chances a game, you would say, and you've seen him miss a couple of chances, although he has scored loads. But in Europe, you're only going to get those 1 or 2 free chances, so he's got to take them when it comes. But they do make a massive difference, and it's great having your captain back. It's still quite weird to say that McGregor's the captain, but he's really settled him into that role nicely, and we're a different team when he's in it.
Conference League. That's what they play for now.
It's as I called it in the last one, a 6-pointer.
Yes, it's a lovely 6-pointer.
It's a literal 6-pointer.
It is a literal 6-pointer, right?
But
yes.
It's a shootout to see who gets into the Conference League between us and Ferencváros. Let's just hope it's us.
And another team who right now are in a position where Conference League football might be the only option is Rangers, because they have lost both their opening games as well in a game last night that once again they weren't good enough in. Sparta Prague, a team that Celtic know of course very, very well, 1-0 last night, Ryan. A performance that kind of was lacklustre, you could say, from Rangers.
Well, yeah, the fact that they didn't get at least a point away from home against probably a team that they've beaten better teams away from home in years gone by, even under Steven Gerrard, so it definitely is a disappointing result. Obviously they've got to play Calvin Bassey at the back, which is not ideal at all.
Goldfinger.
Well, what was up with Goldson?
Goldson's out injured. I'm sure. Yeah, he's out injured.
That's a real problem for Rangers because they've also got Hollander out long term as well.
Yes, you've got to consider Goldson's contract as well. That's up at the end of the season. So he's not signed a deal yet. I think he's looking for a pre-contract in January, God knows, but he's not signed a contract yet. But Rangers, the question that I never got to see a lot of the Rangers game last night, of course, because we had to leave to go to see our team play. But is the standard slipping for Rangers in Europe a little bit? They haven't been as good so far this season. They haven't been good of course, they're top of the league, and this isn't the two Celtic fans attack Rangers, so we're just being brutally honest and calling it how we're seeing it. Both Celtic have been incredibly pish so far.
We have been shite.
We have been awful. But Rangers haven't been the team they were last season. There's no way. The way my friend, I'll give him a shout out, Regan, massive Rangers fan, season ticket holder, he put in the chat last night, Rangers are Celtic with a good goalkeeper. That was his height of Rangers last. Joe Hart's decent, but he's not quite Alan McGregor, is he?
I think they're round about the same quality. The two of them.
That's a big call there, Ryan. That's a big call.
I don't think it is. Look at what Joe Hart's done in the game. I might get stuck in the comments for that, but
okay, I'll give you Joe Hart. I'm not. Well, of course I'll give you a fucking Celtic fan. I'm not saying it's Joe Hart's not a good keeper, but we know how exceptional Alan McGregor is.
They both are really good goalkeepers. Alan McGregor does have those incredible saves in him.
So that was what he put in the chat last night, which signalled to me that maybe Rangers haven't been as good in the park that they have been in Europe over the past few years. Is there a kind of jolt needed in that squad, in that team? Do they need a wee bit? Hadji, once again, I think has been failing to impress, and he goes
up and down. I've noticed that with the Rangers fans.
And I just don't know where they stand just now in Europe. It's been such a weird one for them.
Yeah, obviously the disappointment of going out to Malmo as well in a tie that they probably should have won was really disappointing, and it seems as if that form's just came into the Europa League as well. Two losses from two, albeit Lyon's a difficult ask at home. They've got really good players all over the squad. But Sparta Prague's probably the game that they should have got something from, and the fact that they didn't, they'll be really disappointed with that.
Just to clarify, I know Hadji never started last night. It was just one of the names that came off the top of my head.
Bakuna came off quite early on in the game too.
Yeah. The one massive talking point though we should touch on last night from the Rangers game, and a disappointing, the coefficient's taking a massive hit from last night. One talking point is the sort of continued story of Glenn Kamara.
That's concerning.
That is honestly unbelievable. 10,000 children in the stadium and booed every time he touched the ball. Kamara was sent off last night, of course, but I think the story will always be that the booing and the treatment of him. I think him being sent off is completely disregarded in this situation. I cannot believe, it's just a sad indictment. Of where our world is. It's so fucking heartbreaking. And it just shows you that there is so little hope for things to fucking change in a lot of countries around this world. We're bad over here. There is still a sort of driven racism that is in this country. That to deny that's there it would be foolish. But there is countries over mainland Europe that you fail to see change. If you can't have any hope in 10,000 children being change of a voice for your future, there's fuck all hope, man.
No, and it's sad. I can only imagine it's the parents that have told them to boo as they go out to the game. Yeah. Boo this player.
Aye.
And maybe the children are too young to ask back why should we boo this player. They're obviously going to do it if their parents are telling them to do it. That's an accusation I'm making there, but
it's
you
just
put two and two together, and it was Slavia Prague they played.
Yeah.
So why are they going out of their way to boo a player?
Ingrained in our culture.
And it is racially motivated. Motivated.
And it's just sad, and I thought it's with Glenn Kamara, who has to deal with this. Racism is something that I think breaks boundaries in any sort of footballing rivalry. You don't want to see anyone racially abused. The fact that you hope and pray for change and everything, and then you see something like that, it's truly fucking sickening.
It's damning.
Yeah.
We're in 2021. Racism just shouldn't be a thing. We should be an inclusive society.
Yep.
Very disappointing, but not surprising, because the Czech Republic has history for stuff like this. So,
yep.
In other countries do, in Europe as well, it's a problem that happens a lot across Europe, and it needs to be. Education's got to be tightened up, because it's just unacceptable. We're living in 2021 now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's a shambles.
Both teams losing at the end of the day, and our coefficient will be taking a bit of a knock.
Taking an absolute battering.
A battering. So then, our preview for the weekend, since we're doing a preview show, we never even addressed that. Never addressed the fact that this show is late this week. It's on a Friday. This is becoming a very difficult part for TSF now as a group, where we have so many people doing so many things. So us two are in the same uni class on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. David is working at different days. Div is working in different days. Kieran has college Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Works on Wednesday, Thursday. Jack works. Adam does uni. We're all sort of all over the place. So we're kind of in a situation where we have to I think we're going to go right back to the way it used to be with the two shows. We're going to have a preview show. We're going to have a review show, and we're going to try and get designated times and casts for each show, hopefully, and hopefully we're back to normal. So we've changed this week to a preview show, as you can see. So we're here to preview the weekend, and we'll start with the teams who aren't in the derby matches, and we'll run through them very quickly, as we said, in a much more quicker version of today's show. The first game of the weekend, St Mirren against Livingston. St Mirren turned their fortunes around a little bit with a win last weekend over Aberdeen, which takes them up to 8th in the table after 3 draws in the bounce as well. Livingston, who went back to losing ways last weekend after beating Celtic the week before. Celtic can't beat them, Ryan, but other teams can. Just Celtic can't.
Psychological.
It's a big game for both teams, because I think they'll be dying to beat each other and dying to get kind of a little bit more form in the clock. If I was to side with someone, it would be St Mirren.
Yeah, me too. Got a better team than Livingston. They've just came off a really good result against Aberdeen. They played really well against Aberdeen as well. It showed they've got goals all over the park.
Here's a drill again. This is nice. Keep going, Ryan. Just keep going.
But Livingston's form, apart from beating Celtic, which everybody seems to be doing at the moment, hasn't been great. St Mirren, I would look at them for the winners. I see them as being winners in that game.
Yes. We also do apologise if you hear any drilling, knocking, banging, hammering in the background. The place beside us is still obviously getting done up. The second game of the weekend, Hearts against Motherwell.
It's a good game.
That is a good game. Motherwell have had a very surprising start to this season, of course. They currently sit only 1 point behind Hearts in the table. Third versus fourth place clash. It is at Tynecastle, however. Would you fancy the Jambos to take it? Or do you think Motherwell can? A lot of conversation around Tony Watt at the minute. David was really sort of championing him for the Scotland squad. He has been on form. Can he go to Tynecastle and spoil a party? That's a party, but you know.
There could be a mini party.
Good mood.
I probably could. Is that one getting played at Tynecastle? Sorry?
Yes, Tynecastle.
You'd probably see Hearts as being the favourites of that game, but they're very up and down when it comes to their form. They started the season really well, obviously, but Motherwell will be going there with confidence. They've started the season really well. They've got Van Veeren scoring goals, Tony Watt scoring goals, and Graham Alexander looks to be doing a great job. So 3rd, 4th is a very tasty tie, and I'll be watching that one really closely, but I'd probably say Hearts will pip it.
You think Hearts will take it? So we're both predicted St Mirren in the first game. You're going Hearts second game. I'm going to go for a draw. I think a wee draw in the cards there. Dundee United against Ross County. Dundee United, who have been so quietly impressing because they're sitting fifth in the table right now. I
really like Tam Coates.
And you've been championing Tam Coates from the start.
Not last week, obviously, but I was wanting to fail so badly last week. But apart from that, he's a breath of fresh air for me. Picked
up 3 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses in the opening 7 games. A draw last week at Celtic Park. They are a team right now who I think we've not given enough respect in comparison to the likes of Motherwell, Hearts, Hibs, who've been playing well. Dundee United are a team who are just so easy to do that with, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's weird because you don't know where to put them because they're a big club in Scotland, but they only got promoted a couple of seasons ago, and they were just trying to consolidate their place last season. It'll be interesting to see how they do, but I've been really impressed by them. I don't know if Charlie McGrew's back from injury, but he is a big character in that back line. He really does bring out a lot in the team, and they've got guys that can score goals. Nicky Clark, obviously they'll be looking to score a wee bit more goals. I feel like I'm rambling here again.
But they've got that talent. I hear what you're saying. You know,
and they're very focused on bringing the youth through as well, which is good.
Somehow, how have they managed to go 3? This is the question. They scored 4 goals all season.
That's me, and I would like to retract what I said about them. They've got guys that can score goals. They quite obviously don't. You can see how much research I've done before this. So they'll be looking to score a wee bit more goals. But they do have people like Nicky Clark.
That's the thing. They have got players that can do it. They're somehow 5th with doing so little.
It's because of their defensive work as well. Yeah. They don't let in.
They've only conceded 5. They've conceded 5 goals in the opening 7 games. It is proper Louis Van Gaal stuff we're getting right there.
Horny.
But Dundee United, I think they could keep that up against Ross County. It's a good chance at Tannadice as well. I would be quite fond of a Dundee United win.
Yeah, me too.
This weekend.
I mean, Ross County's form is very sketchy. Draws and defeats galore. So I can only see one winner there for me.
One winner. Okay. Right, the St Johnstone Dundee. St Johnstone, a team who of course this season has been question marks over. They haven't exactly had the most sparkling of starts. They lost again last week. Dundee, however, yet to find a win this season. Them and Ross County, the only 2 winless sides in the Premiership thus far. You would be fancying St Johnstone based off the St Johnstone we knew from last season, but once again, this is a side that we are now seeing in a sort of recovery phase from losing the likes of Jason Kerr, from losing the likes of Ali McCann. They've now got the likes of Effie Ambrose in their side. It's not going to be an easy ride for St Johnstone, and I think honestly Dundee, they are starting to show little bits of improvement. They're showing glimpses.
They were unlucky in the
derby. They were. That's what I was about to say. They have lost, of course, their last 2 games. One being against Rangers, but they were unlucky against Rangers as well. A missed penalty doing them out of a potential point there. They've been showing like they can improve, and I feel like they could beat St Johnstone this weekend.
I think this could be the game that Griffiths opens his account for Dundee.
Yeah.
I think this could be the game. There's only 3 points. I know that it's 9th and 12th respectively, but there's only 3 points between them, so they're a lot closer than what the table suggests. Obviously you get that because it's the start of the season. St Johnstone haven't kicked on from last season. Maybe the European run has sort of hindered them in terms of game management, which is really difficult. They're never really in that position, so it's all about getting used to that, I guess.
Yep.
But I think that'll be a closer game than what it would have been maybe last season.
Yeah.
If Dundee were obviously in the league.
Yep.
St Johnstone are struggling to adapt with the likes of not having McCann. Did you say Kerr?
Kerr,
but I think it'll be closer.
Yeah, I think it'll be closer than what you said as it would have been last season. I'm all fancying Dundee though. Just they have been showing that sort of glimpse of improvement, and I think McPake will be desperate now to get off the mark with some points. Yeah, they've got 3 there, but I think
where did I put Dundee in my prediction? Was it 6 I put them?
You did, aye. You put Dundee at 6, and I was like, what?
Well, that's where Celtic are at the moment.
We are Dundee. So that's everybody outside of the top. I say the top 2. Well, as everybody outside of the top 2, because the top 2 play each other this weekend. But we'll start with
first v second.
Yeah, first v second. But we'll start with Aberdeen and Celtic. We've once again spoke about this in great depth on the Celtic, the Thunder, and how this is a must win for Celtic. This is massive.
That is a must win.
Ange Postecoglou, a lot of confidence and the support is riding on this game.
Very much so. It's a difficult game. Obviously, Aberdeen always up their game against Celtic. That's a given, especially at Pittodrie.
The Rangers fans in the comments will be like dying to disagree with you there, because there has always been that sort of whole McInnes lying down thing against Celtic. You know, there's always been there.
I think over the past couple of years it's been the other way around. I think it's been McInnes and Rangers, because there was hardly anything. Any fight from
it's a tough game, and what we've got to consider is the fact that Aberdeen are in a very similar position, whereas Stephen Glass is on a bit of a shaky peg.
Definitely.
He needs a big result. They haven't been playing well. I think if you look at their recent form at the moment, they've lost their last 3. They've drawn the 2 before that. They haven't won since the second match day of the season, right?
And they started really well.
And they started with so much hope. We're talking about Aberdeen being a side who can go and challenge and be very good this season, and yet now they're in a situation where, you know, people are doubting Glass. They're out the cup.
Reef Rovers, that's
very big result. So both managers have got a lot riding on this game.
Yep. Both of them are on a sugary peg, maybe different measures of the sugary peg though.
I love that saying, sugary.
Sugary peg, it's such a Scottish term.
It is, isn't it?
They're both under pressure. Both shouldn't be in 6th and 7th respectively.
Yeah.
In an ideal world anyway, or what they should be doing with the budgets that the two teams have. I know Celtic have a far bigger budget, but Aberdeen do spend quite a bit, and they did back their new manager in the summer, so they'd be expecting better results. It's going to be a close one, I think, because Celtic away from home are absolutely shambolic. Aberdeen's form's been sketchy at best, so I think it'll be an interesting game, but I think it'll be a close game as well. I did predict a draw on the Celtic, the Thunder, and I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, I think that Celtic need to go out and give their best team out there and really get. It's hard to get an emphatic result at Pittodrie. I really don't expect Celtic to go and get an emphatic result. You've already predicted a draw. I think Celtic need to realise the team that this is a good performance and a win that's needed. There has to be a confident performance, because even the last couple of games we have won, Ross County, Raith Rovers, they weren't great performances. We haven't been good once.
When's the last time we played well, would you say?
Before the international break. Before we played Rangers.
Yep.
AZ? Home leg?
Home leg.
Who did we play in between?
We played alright. Did we play... I'm trying to remember back, but to be fair, there was a red card in that.
That was around that time region. Was the last time we played well.
That's been a while.
So Celtic really do need a big result and a big performance.
Honeymoon period is well and truly over.
Well and truly over.
Results need to start coming, and quickly.
They do. And I think that, you know, you've got to see someone like Rogic or Turnbull dropped out the team, one of the two, and we need to make a change. We have to make a statement, and we have to let them know that it's not easy pickings. I know that there's not a lot of great options behind them, and that is completely on the board, but I think we do need to make a change.
Yeah, definitely. We need some grit in that midfield, but where is that grit coming from? That's the question.
I mean, you spoke on the podcast earlier in the Celtic Thunder about how Aberdeen's midfield potentially is better than ours at the moment.
It is at
and
the moment.
even though Aberdeen are struggling, that just shows how bad our midfield has been.
On paper, though, and that should never be the case on paper. Celtic's midfield should be better than Aberdeen's.
Yeah.
But on paper, you look at Lewis Ferguson, he'd get in our team. You look at
Scott Brown.
certain Celtic fans would say he'd still get in the team. It's not ideal. Not ideal at all.
Not ideal whatsoever.
But I think it'll be a draw.
You think it'll be a draw? I'm going to go for a Celtic win. As reluctant as I kind of feel to saying that with the way we've been playing, I'm still going to go and somehow predict a Celtic win. We'll get there over the line, maybe.
You've got to bring the confidence here, unfortunately.
Yep. I like setting my
it's usually me that
expectations.
brings the optimism and that, but I'm not feeling it just now.
Not feeling it at all.
And I'm not going to put it on either.
Yeah, well, that's how I've been, and I get slagged for it after Celtic fans. Oh, you're so negative. I'm like, no, I'm realistic.
Realistic.
It doesn't
What is there to
make
be
a difference.
positive about?
Yeah. What is there to smile about? When was the last time you smiled? Florida 2008 for me.
When's the last time I did smile?
What a fucking hole we went down here. Right, last game of the weekend. The game of the weekend, potentially.
Definitely.
Yes.
As the game, first
versus second. It's Ibrox, it's Rangers versus Hibs. A massive test for Rangers because, of course, we spoke about the performances maybe not being at the level they were last season. But Hibs is a big test for them as well. They take on the champions. And it could be a sort of, you know, we asked that question in the Celtic Thunder earlier about how far can this Hibs side go at the minute. Well, this could be very telling as to where their limit is as a team and if they can establish credentials as potential outsiders for this title.
Yeah.
With the way that both Celtic and Rangers have been playing at points. I mean, Celtic have been obviously the worst of the two, but Rangers' performances haven't been the level they were last season, and they've now got the likes of Helander out. You know, the Hibs really do have a shot at establishing something here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're one of the unbeaten sides in the league as well, just now. Hibs and Hearts are the two teams that haven't been beaten so far this season, which is great for Edinburgh, I guess. This is a big test for Rangers. I think this is probably the hardest test so far this season, I would say, for them, because Hibs rejuvenated.
I think if it was at Easter Road, it would be even tougher for them. Yeah. But they've got their home crowd there. They've got the chance to go out and get something.
That could be a positive and a negative though, because their fans will know that Rangers fans will know that their team haven't been performing to the standards that they expect this season. So there's a lot of expectation going into this game that they put down a marker probably. They need that sort of game that they come out and establish why they're champions and why they're front runners to do it again this season. We'll see if that happens, but Hibs is going to be a really solid test for them.
Yeah, and everything about Hibs at the moment has been great. The way they're playing football, you know, the way they're just getting on with things, and they're taking every game in their stride. The likes of Martin Boyle, and they're players that are establishing themselves as, you know, some of the best in the league at the moment. And you know, it's so easy to disregard players that play for Hibs and Hearts and etc. because they're not Celtic or Rangers players. But no, right now these are players who are outperforming a lot of the teams a lot of the players in the top two teams, right? Yeah. And that will be shown at Ibrox. I think they'll go there. I think Jack Ross will go there with the motivation. Look, they've had big results against Rangers over the last few years. They have been a difficult team for both sides. God knows Celtic have struggled against Hibs, but Rangers have as well at times. So there's nothing to write them off and saying they can't go to Ibrox and get something.
Yeah, Jack Ross has got them playing really good football. They'll be feeling confident going to Ibrox. They've started the season really, really well, and this is the big acid test for them now to see if they can do it against Rangers. If they go out and have a win, then you know the world's their oyster. Let's see where they can go next. They're playing really, really well at the moment. It is good for the league that other teams are starting the season well. I know it's bad for Celtic, but it's good to see other strong teams in the league such as Hibs and Hearts. The league's in a really good place at the moment with so many strong teams in and around it. And
Rangers, on that note, they'll be wanting to pick themselves up after drawing with Motherwell last week, also losing midweek. You know, it's two poor results in a row for them, but they are the type of side that
they beat Dundee.
Oh, sugar, sorry, Motherwell was two weeks ago, so it was.
The season before, I said the season that
two weeks ago, yeah, that's right, sorry, they beat Dundee. But they weren't great against Dundee either, as once again, they could have easily dropped points if McLaughlin never saved the penalty. But this is a big chance now to bounce back, and Rangers normally do bounce back, I think, quite well. Last season, for as little poor results as they had last season, they did bounce back from whether it was cup exits, whether it was Europe or whatever, they bounced back from them, and I feel like, they've got a big bounce back here on Sunday pending. I don't think they'll go and batter Hibs, but if I was to predict, I do think Rangers will win this weekend.
I think it'll be a draw.
But
I do still think Rangers have a couple of gears to go up as well. They can get better.
Yeah, they can. And that's
the
kind of scary part as a Celtic fan, because Rangers are still top of the league while not playing well.
It's the sign of champions.
Yeah, it is, and that's been story with Celtic sometimes over the past few years. But with Rangers, is they can still go up to second into third, right up into fifth if they want, because they haven't got out of first, and yet they're top of the league.
Yep.
So it shows that they're still a side capable of very much here.
They're winning the hard way.
Yeah,
and that's the sign of champions. That's what Celtic can't do at the moment. They either win games comprehensively or they drop points.
Yes. So yeah, you're going for a draw. I'm going for a Rangers win.
Go one each.
You're going one each. I'll go 2-1 to Rangers. Hopefully
it'll be close though, I think.
Something, hopefully, because we need it. God knows we need it as we head into this international break.
I'm trying to keep my neutral cap on.
Try to keep your neutral cap on.
Just going for it.
Just going for it. Also around Scotland, there is plenty of football to be enjoyed throughout the lower leagues. We'll just dance on very quickly the Scottish Championship, because David's side, Dunfermline, are in a
we can't miss out on Dunfermline.
Utter state, aren't they? Bottom of the table, yet to win a game, 7 games in.
That's not good enough.
4 points on the board, 3 draws on the bounce now. David is so concerned about the people who are starting to go, but we're playing well. A lot of the kind of Lenny type stuff.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
Yeah, we have heard that before. But a big weekend in the Championship nonetheless. Hamilton take on Inverness, Partick Thistle taking on Ayr, Queen of the South taking on Dunfermline. You'd imagine if he doesn't win that the weekend, Grant has to go.
Yeah,
he has to go, man, but he might get kept. Kilmarnock and Raith Rovers, which will be an entertaining one, and Greenock Morton versus Arbroath. That's the Championship for you. League 1, League 2 will also provide some entertainment as well, and we'll be here to review it all. We have to dance through today's show. Apologies, we're not giving it a proper rundown. We've been held up by a few things, and also it's getting pretty late in the day, and I've got to edit these tonight.
Busy boy.
Yep, I've got to edit
before
2
Bond.
podcasts before Bond, and I've got uni stuff to fucking do. What a fucking world I live in. I wanted to go to the gym today, but that's out the window, I think. I've not ate. I've not,
well, I mean, I had my McDonald's last night, but I'll wait till dinner time.
So the international break is upon us, Ryan, and we will be dancing into that in far more detail on Talk Scottish Football next week when it's truly underway. But the squad was out this week, Ryan. I don't know if you remember much about the squad itself.
As a quickly, so I can get onto the Scottish
national
team.
So I don't know if you remember too much about the squad itself, but it's a massive international break, and they've had to he's had to be very careful around his squad selection, because as he knows, a win against Israel puts us in pole position and surely clears us to making this playoff run for the World Cup. Of course, it would have been better to get automatically there, because we're not quite done with the what's it called, the playoffs. The playoffs are going to be difficult, but the team is out, Ryan, and were you happy with that team? Scott McTominay, for example, returns into the lineup. If I quickly dance through for people that don't know, here we go. It's Craig Gordon, Liam Kelly, John McLaughlin, Liam Cooper, Grant Hanley, Jack Hendry, Scott McKenna, Stephen O'Donnell, Nathan Patterson, Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, Stuart Armstrong, Lewis Ferguson, Billy Gilmore, John McGinn, Cal McGregor, Kenny McLean, Scott McTominay and David Turnbull, Che Adams, Ryan Christie, Lyndon Dykes, Ryan Fraser and Kevin Nisbet. Happy with it?
It's about as strong as it could have been, I think.
There was a lot of complaints about maybe some of the defensive selections, the likes of McKenna being in there and players being left out.
But nobody's moaning about Jack Hendry being in the squad now at all.
Well, he's had a couple of big performances in Europe, hasn't he?
Fantastic.
He pocketed the likes of Lionel Messi and Mbappe and Neymar in the first game.
And then he gets the win against Leipzig as well.
Yep, I mean, unbelievable stuff.
And there is a slight bit of revisionism from Celtic fans saying we could have kept him, but
he wouldn't have came on to that game at Celtic.
it's testament to him that he's went on and improved his game so much.
But he wouldn't have done it at Celtic.
When he was at Celtic, he wasn't good enough. It's well done to him for making the most out of his loan move in Belgium, and then getting his move to, was it Ostend he was playing?
Ostend, yes.
Ostend, and then he got his move to Bruges in the same window. Fair play to him.
And you know, this international break is massive, and we will talk about it more next week. You want this Scotland squad there, which is very well drilled at this point. You know, they know each other. This is a squad, this is a team that Clark has trusted and assembled. We have been critical of Clark at times over the past few months, but this is huge now. This is big time. You know, this is the kind of pressure that Scotland haven't been able to deal with for years, but we seem to have been able to, despite poor results, we've dealt with it with Clark. We've done it once. Can they do it again?
It's another game against Israel, innit? We play this mob. I know, we play this mob every year, it feels like. In fact, we have played them every year
since like 2017.
Faroe Islands should take care of itself. I mean, come on.
Yep.
We've got to put a couple.
It's
past
Scotland
them.
though.
I know, but you look at the names in that squad. There's plenty of starring names at the moment, and down in the Premier League, a couple of Celtic players there, a couple of Rangers players. In fact, it's just John McLaughlin at this point, and Nathan Patterson as well. How can I forget him? It's a good squad. If we can beat the Faroe Islands, if we can beat Israel, which is we play them every. I'm talking piss here. I've actually went.
How have you managed to like 360
and I managed to
get in point?
As well. Can we cut this back?
No, I don't do cuts, mate. I'm the editor, and there is no cuts. But you know where you were going with it, Ryan. You were going to say, you know, if we beat Israel, it puts us in good stead to take on the likes of the Faroe Islands, to take on the likes of Moldova. We should be winning those games.
If we beat Israel, then the Faroe Islands should take care of itself.
Yes.
That's what
however, we are Scotland, and however we do realise that things might not be that easy. We do recognise that.
But Israel have players that can hurt us as well.
Abada, he's in the wing.
Get Abada, he's in the wing. Please.
They've got Zahavi doing his thing.
Don't even know their manager's name.
Somebody's the leader of all in Israel all over the world. Are we fuck?
No.
Anyway, Scotland. Do us a fucking favour, give us something to shout about. It's been fucking miserable being a football fan over the past year. Since Serbia, in fact, I don't think I've felt much joy watching football. There was a brief amount of joy after
Cal McGregor's goal.
After England.
And then the England result.
Yeah, but apart from that, football has been a tough fucking watch. So please, I mean, Rangers fans won't agree, they'll be loving it.
They'll be loving it.
Yeah, they're loving their football at the moment. And they're still top of the league. Right, which basically wraps up everything we need to talk about today's show. A few Twitter questions were brought up. No telling, he asked, is John Hartson Scottish football's Robbie Savage?
They're both not great, are they? As much as I love John Hartson, he can talk some amount of rubbish at times. They're both Welsh, so I mean, you can put two and two together.
Well, I didn't even consider that. They are both Welsh. And finally, how long before the fans turn on Ange? The defence is still a shambles. Rogic and Turnbull can't play in the same midfield. And the game against Aberdeen is massive.
Certain sectors already have turned on him.
Yes, and certain sectors will continue to turn after Sunday.
More
I am willing to trust the process. This is a rebuild. This is something that's going to take a while. We can't expect instant gratification. But it has been tricky. There's no denying.
There is that excuse of it being a rebuild, but Celtic should at least be finishing Celtic. Celtic should be finishing Celtic. Celtic should at least be finishing second and challenging for the league. That's the bare minimum.
Right. Okay. Well, it's a bit loud.
We've done another quiz. Another one. I'm going to get.
I have not looked at any of the questions or any of the answers. I can promise you that I haven't looked at all.
Okay.
So I'm going to pass you my phone and complete trust that you don't log into any of my social medias or nothing. Cancel me. I'm going to pass you my phone. I'm going to give you my WhatsApp, and I'm going to let you go to Mr. Matthew Duff. And Matthew Duff's chat will allow you to see the questions and answers for today. Viewers at home, as you can see, there's only two of us, so it's not going to work in the fashion that it normally would. It's not going to work in the fashion of someone in the panel against someone else in the panel. It's going to work that just me getting asked questions to see how many I get. So, viewers, it's your chance at home to see if you can beat the pundit. Can you beat Ryan 118 in a quiz? I love getting quizzed, and I've not been able to be quizzed in a long time because I'm always the fucking host. I want people to start getting sent the quiz so that I can actually answer questions.
So I'm asking you every question.
You're asking me every question, see how many I can get out of 10. Okay, right, we're underway.
So question number 1: Edinburgh City host Cowdenbeath tonight, but which club is the oldest?
Cowdenbeath.
Yep.
Yep.
They were 1882, 84 years older than Edinburgh City.
Yeah, I knew Edinburgh City were relatively young.
Yep, me too. Who is younger from the Old Firm summer signings? Juninho Bacuna or Liam Scales?
Bacuna.
Liam Scales.
Is it Scales? Aye. Fuck.
He's 23, 1 year younger than Bacuna.
Wow.
There you go.
Nice.
Who is the current Scottish Premiership top goal scorer out with Glasgow and the Edinburgh clubs?
Oh. Out with Glasgow and Edinburgh clubs. Scottish Premiership top scorer. Is it a Motherwell player? Is that an eye?
Why would I tell you that? That's a complete hint.
A complete hint.
Aye.
Not just a hint, a complete hint.
hint.
A complete hint.
That's a complete giveaway, that's what I meant.
I'm stuck between Van Veem and Watt. I'm going to go for a wee Tony Watt. Is it correct? Yes.
So you've got 2 out of 3 at this point.
Nice.
Celtic were defeated 4-0 by Bayer Leverkusen. By Bayer Leverkusen. By Leverkusen.
Yes.
But how many times have the clubs previously met?
So Celtic and Bayer Leverkusen. That was the first time last night.
So how many times have they previously?
Before last night, none.
Yep, correct. How many clubs in the Scottish Championship have animals in their badges?
In the Premiership?
Championship.
Championship? For fuck me. Why is it? Right, Dunfermline I don't think do. They've got a wee hoose. Raith Rovers have. Arbroath don't. What other teams are in the league? Fuck me. Kilmarnock have a squirrel, so that's 2. Hamilton don't.
I like the way you're doing this process.
Yeah, you've got to be right. You've got to be right about this. What teams am I forgetting though? That's the fucking thing. I'm trying to think of who's in the league. Queen of the South, I don't think they do, so that's still 2. I can't think of who. It's like everybody in the league has just suddenly slipped my mind. Who else does David go and see them play? Ayr. I don't think Ayr have one either. So that's still only 2. And there's 3 more teams There's 3 more teams in the Championship. Who are the 3 teams?
I'm not going to say anything because it'll give it away.
Right, I can't be bothered sitting here all day trying to think of the last 3 teams that have slipped my mind. Oh wait, Morton. Do Morton have an animal on their badge? Do they? I don't think so.
Well, that's the question.
I don't think so. That's Morton. Partick Thistle, they don't. So who's the last team? I'm going to go with 3.
Correct.
Yes! Go on.
And the one team you couldn't name was Inverness, who have an eagle.
They have an eagle! Fucking get in there. Brilliant.
So the next question, Scottish youngster Aaron Hickey, should have signed for Celtic, netted against Genoa in the Serie A last week, but what was the final score?
Oh, was it 2-0?
2 each.
Ah, yeah, bastard. I knew there was a 2.
There was 2 twos.
There was double 2s.
Aberdeen host Celtic on Sunday, but what was the last season Aberdeen beat Celtic up Tawdry?
Say that again.
What was the last season Aberdeen beat Celtic up Tawdry?
Didn't do it last season. And that was 2021. 1920. Did we do it 1920? Yeah, I think we did. 1920.
What was the last season Aberdeen beat?
Aberdeen beat Celtic at Pittodrie. Right. Okay. Right. I thought. Right. So they didn't beat.
I helped you there.
They didn't beat us last season because it was 2 draws. We drew 3 each. We drew 1 each. The season before, I don't think was it. Oh Christ. 15-16.
Correct.
Aye.
Johnny Hayes goal and assist. 2-1.
Johnny Hayes.
Now, was that the game that what's his name? The big man made his debut.
The big man.
Big Z.
Big Z.
What's his name?
Colin Kazim Richards.
Big Z. I think it was actually.
Might have been.
That was when everybody was calling for Ronnie Dyer to get sacked. I remember that very clearly. How many cards were handed out during Wednesday night's Fife derby between Raith Rovers and Dunfermline?
4.
Tumulty.
Was it right?
Yeah. I thought you just watched it.
No, I just
Tumulty, Matthews, Kennedy, and Dorrans.
Can't I go behind? I did look at the answers, man. 'Cause I'm doing pretty fucking good here. I just like quizzes.
Ryan Kent's shirt number minus trophies won at Celtic by Brendan Rodgers equals.
What number's Kent again? Is he 14? He is, isn't he? Ryan Kent's 14. Isn't he? He can't.
You tell me.
And then Brendan Rodgers won. Brendan Rodgers won the double treble, and then one more on top of that because he left before the league in the Scottish Cup. So Brendan Rodgers won 7 honours. I'm sure Kent wears 14, so I'm going 7.
Correct.
Yes.
Although, would you not count?
No, you wouldn't count anything because he didn't finish the league camp.
You've got to count that league is his as well.
But it's you can say that, okay, but technically
I'm not disputing, by the way, the question. I'm not disputing it. Because,
but technically speaking, he didn't win that league title. Neil Lennon did, which is sickening, isn't it?
He tried his best to lose it. Get the Lenny. Get the Lenny.
Get off me.
Get off me.
Get off me.
There's Lennon away. Scottish football cult hero Dougie Imrie. That's questionable. I don't like him. Has played for how many SPFL clubs?
Did he do his whole career at Hamilton?
No.
Oh, you've answered. No, I don't know. I just remember him playing for
How
Hamilton.
many SPFL clubs? There's obviously more than one.
No. I mean, obviously, no. It could be. The answer could be 1. How many SPFL clubs do you prefer? 1.
Is that your answer?
No, 3.
No, 5.
5. Huh?
Clyde, Inverness, Hamilton, St Mirren, and Greenock Morton. Do you want to hear the tiebreaker question?
Yeah. So what did I get there? Like 8 out of 10.
So you got the Edinburgh City one.
Yep.
You didn't get the Bacuna one. You got the current goal scorer. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get
7. That's all right. Could do better.
It's an A, probably.
That's a B.
B.
It's a B.
Depends what you're doing.
That's 70% actually, isn't it?
You'll love this.
That's the tiebreaker. Go on.
I love it. According to, is it FOTMob?
No,
FOTMob. What was the combined expected goals of Celtic and Rangers during their European ties last night?
3.72.
No. Well, it's very difficult to get the exact number.
I don't know what any of the
You'd have been quite close. 2.33, so it's 2.04 for Celtic and 0.29 for Rangers.
Wow. What
a quiz, by the way.
Not bad. That was good.
Well
done, Matthew, once again. Well done. Brilliant.
He always comes up trumps, Matthew.
Yeah, he does. And that's us at the end of the show. A shorter one today, one we had to go through in quite a quick fashion. Still quite long. I think it's still about 40 minutes or something, which for a podcast is... I mean, I listen to a Bundesliga podcast every week and it's a half hour. They literally go through every game at They don't even go through every game, actually. They only go through 3 or 4 games in the Bundesliga. It's good. They cover, the big stories, basically, in the big games. They used to do them all, but I think they've just kind of shortened it. Funnily enough, one of the people on it, we don't know, actually. I'm talking shit. I'll tell you later. Anyway, that does it. Ryan, thanks for joining me. Everybody at TSF, thanks you for listening. And make sure to hit like and subscribe and follow on Spotify if you're listening there. Until next time, we'll see you later.